It's funny, a lot of people think that age determines when you retire. Very rarely does that happen. It usually happens based on health, circumstances, and we're trying to help people understand the economics of this future without possibly telling them all those other variables. But at least they'll have an economic guideline of, okay, if I'm thinking I might want to, then I just want to pull the ripcord in through here. Basically, they're going to be privately held companies who are trying to decide how difficult the future looks, how great it looks before it gets difficult. Is there a time when I really need to decide by that date, hold, go? Do I bring my next generation in on board? All those questions need to be answered. And if they go into this financial resiliency program, then we talk an awful lot about their markets and what markets would likely do better than the markets that they're currently in, and can they see a way to get into those other markets? And sometimes you can, and sometimes you can't. Even a publicly traded company could benefit from this. It's just not as personal, and right now I've been doing it with privately held companies, and it's been a great process. The first thing I do is I sit down with them and I say, what are you looking for? What do you want to get out of that? What are the questions you're trying to answer? And those questions are varied, but what they have in common is, we've developed something called the financial bunker here at ITR. You may have heard us mention that before. So really, I tied into the financial bunker. Is this going to be one of the ways that you are financing that bunker? Are you thinking about running your business all the way through the 2030s? Well, then you should know what the difficulties are going to be, where the opportunities lie. We're talking about the 30s being a period of inflation shifting to deflation. Those are two very powerful, very different dynamics. And they're going to impact companies very differently. Some are going to get slaughtered because of inflation. Some are going to get slaughtered because of deflation, and they can switch roles also. So we have to talk them through that. What I've been telling the clients so far is, look, I'm not here to really tell you about how good you're going to have it, although within a 10-year forecast, you're going to see what I think that is going to look for you. But this is really about preventive maintenance, fine-tuning your plans, because you want to see what that storm is going to look like for you personally. So far, the people I've talked to, it's been they understand it in conceptual terms, but now they want ITR Economics to quantify that level of pains, because then you can start dealing more accurately with what that future is going to hold for you, right? So many people have their outside assets and they own their business. And what they frequently fail to do is make sure that those two aren't correlated. They have to be not correlated, or else your entire wealth goes up and down at the same time. So we'll also talk about what that part of your financial wealth is going to be doing, and map that with what the company is going to be doing in terms of its worth. And you really want to go through that both at the same time. And if so, let's talk about what you're likely going to need for reserves. Another scenario is, PE firms will hold our basket of companies, right? So they could come to us and say, which one of these are likely to do fine in the 30s, and which one of these should we be spinning off before we get into the 30s, so we can have our best possible portfolio of companies going through the 30s. So those are privately held also, but I didn't want people to think it was just, mom and dad own this thing, or a generation owns this thing. Privately held could also mean PE firms own these companies. For us to make a 10-year vision personal to their company, and by extension to them, and during the debrief, just what do you want to talk about? This is what this means. These are the different permutations, different angles. We're giving them not only the forecast, but very real-time consulting into their personal futures. And that's, I think, means a lot to them, and I find it to be immensely gratifying work to do. It's one of those programs that, while I have this general parameter, I don't know exactly what form it is going to take until I find out what their needs are. We're really trusted advisors on this. I'm not trying to say this is the one road. This is what the program is. It is, what do you need? I mean, how can we help you? That's what we've been doing all along. And it's been gratifying for both parties so far. I really enjoy the work. It is It's where we try to make a difference, right?